The row over the TMC member of the parliament, Kalyan banerjee, mimicking vice president of our country and the chair of the Rajya Sabha, Jagdeep, dhankar. And then the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi videographing it all has taken epic proportions. Jagdeep Dhankar has slammed the TMC member of the parliament for making a mockery of the chair and the vice president's position, and also said that this was a mockery of the Jat community and the farmer community. Meanwhile, the opposition MPs are justifying the act. They are calling it an quote-unquote art and asking why would the vice president be offended by it. Kalyan banerjee has refused to apologize for it. India today hangs its head in shame as our leaders, the people that we voted for, indulged in nautanki and drama and antics to disrupt the parliament and not let the house function. There has to be a better, more dignified way to function than to make a fool of yourself in front of the entire country and then even revel in it. On that note, let's start off our conversation. Joining me on the telecast is Sujata Parl. She is the Congress spokesperson. Sujata, being a representative of the countrymen, and looking at all this drama that is unraveling each new day that passes. Yesterday it was about the mimicry video. Today it is about your leader of the opposition of the Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and Kalyan banerjee himself saying that this is quote-unquote an art. And you're saying mimicry is an art, and why should the vice president be offended by it? Are you really serious? Is this the kind of justification that you are going to give? Sujata, please unmute yourself.
One thing is very clear, that the government is not able to get parliament to function. And then all that we are seeing is that our so-called leaders, and very, very important for the country, make a mockery of the whole parliament when they throw out our parliamentarians. As a teacher, one thing I'll tell you, that this is something that always worried me, because as a student, I know what I used to do when I was thrown out of the class. And I know exactly how I used to behave. So, when you're on the other side, you become careful. And I never ever threw out a single child in my entire tenure as a teacher. Now, if you cannot run your parliament, that means you are a failure. And then you're going to be bothered about what they're doing outside parliament, bothered about what is happening.
Are you comparing school students of 12 years of age, 15 years of age to these veterans, to these highly influential people who have been elected by the countrymen, who are representatives of this 140 crore citizens of our country, who have distinguished careers, who have studied in the best of the schools and colleges. Some of them have even studied in Ivy Leagues. And
yes.
and you are telling me, and you are comparing these dignitaries with 15-year-olds and 12 years old and 10 years old?
What do I compare, what has happened over there to? If you're going to try to school parliamentarians rather than listen to them, who are you going to be comparing them to? But schooling doesn't mean that you're talking about 12-year children. But just imagine what an example you have set for this entire country. There could be college students who are ready to contest elections, come into parliament. What are they seeing? That if you go then and you question your other parliamentarians who are running the government, and they are not going to be answering questions, rather they are going to throw you out, and especially at a time when
Sujata, two wrongs don't make a right. If according to you, you think that the Rajya Sabha has not been convened well, if the speaker has been unfair to the members of the parliament who have been suspended, it's equally wrong that a member of the parliament who has been suspended and acting like a monkey and calling this mimicry as an art, and then there is another leader of the opposition who is actually videographing it and laughing and clapping on it.
Let me complete what I'm saying. What is the parliament meant for? Who has made a mockery of parliament? There are people who are intruders who come into parliament, and then there is no statement from the government. And then you decide that you want to pass amended criminal law bills without opposition members there. That means this is a plan that you had conspired for. You did not want the opposition members to be there. Let the government answer this. And if in this crossfire, it is the Honorable Vice President who has been got, he should not.
Fair enough. I accept all your arguments, Sujata. I'm not even contending it. I'm not even questioning you on it. What I'm saying is, two wrongs don't make a right. If you feel that the government has not been fair and has wrongly suspended the 141 MPs, is this right to behave in such a fashion? How is it right? That's what I'm saying. If you think that the government is doing something wrong, are you going to right it by doing something equally wrong and despicable?
Thank God that people are talking about parliamentarians outside. Otherwise, today the discussion would have been on the amended criminal law bills. At least you're talking about the, and other channels also are talking about a parliamentarians who could not participate in this debate. That is the point. Look, when we go to
no,
parliament...
I'm not talking about our parliamentarians could not attend it. What I am talking about is that this is a complete mockery. This is a complete joke. I mean,
the mockery has been made by the government.
Take a look on your screen. I mean, there is a distinguished, respected member of the parliament who is jumping like a monkey, trying to enact the vice president of our country in such a fashion. And then there are others who are clapping and laughing and joking about it. You know, very unfortunate. Extremely.
Megha, why are you calling him a monkey?
I'm saying he's acting like one.
Yeah, so don't say that. Mimicry
I said he's acting like one, and then he's talking about how mimicry is an art form. I mean, come on, is this how low you're going to stoop? Anyways, quickly getting in Raman Malik also. Raman Malik, Sujata Parl from the Congress has been talking about how it is unfair that the BJP has not been, the speaker did not even pull up the member of the parliament under whose jurisdiction those 2 or 3 of people came in and sprayed that spray bomb. Now, why was he not suspended? Why has no inquiry been made about it? And when the members of the parliament have raised this question in the Rajya Sabha and in the Lok Sabha, they have been conveniently removed.
So, Megha, number one, I believe Sujata ji is not aware that the Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha has already ordered an inquiry, as well as he's told the Delhi police also to do the criminal investigation. Till such time that the criminal investigation does not conclude, how do you intend to verify where the error or the omission or the fault lies? Number one. Number two, there Digvijay Singh had very conveniently made everybody remember that human rights of Ajmal Kasab, the terrorist who came into India and killed people, Kasab ji, ji, Falana ji, Hafiz ji. Now, this gentleman does not remember that it is a terrorist whom he's referring to as G. Now, let's come to this point that if he has a right to a fair inquiry under the Indian laws, then does the parliament also has its own jurisdiction which clearly states that one should have a identification of the issue, identification of the culprits, and then subsequently the parliament and the speaker, as per rule book, should act and give punishment to the people concerned. If that is what the precedent and procedures are as inscribed, then the Congress must answer whether they believe in this constitution or they want an Asmani Kitab to come into play.
No, but what they're saying is that why was that MP not suspended?
Why was the MP not suspended? Excellent question. Has the MP jumped up into the well? Has the MP done anything which is not...
What is wrong with
agreed?
him? He facilitated
imagine this. It was very categorically spoken. please, I can also barge into your statements. Do not show what.
I am not. I'm just telling you.
So
that
you tell me
that
now,
person
ma'am,
just
when you
barges
had
in.
decided, when the members of parliament from all
Are you
parties
crazy?
had decided that nobody is going to come into the well with placards and other things,
Well,
why
there
are you
were
coming?
intruders who came into parliament. What are you talking?
Raman Malik, what
you
Sujata Paul is trying to say is, then are you going to equate over here? Now, there is an MP of the BJP under whose jurisdiction there are these bunch of people that have been allowed inside the parliament,
Megha,
and there are
it
thrown
is yet to be
canisters,
identified how and
spray
what has
bombs.
happened.
So,
Who?
until inquiry is finished, why is it questionable? Why can't the member of the parliament be suspended till the time the inquiry gets over? And then getting an MP getting into
Mahua Mitra was suspended after the entire inquiry happened.
Parliament was not attacked. National security was not put at risk.
What?
Obviously, this is national security you're talking about. The whole country.
You are really
I think you're out of your mind.
as
You
big a
are
comedian
out of
as
your
Rahul
mind.
Gandhi.
You are
as big a comedian as Rahul Gandhi, madam.
Also.
You must
Just
understand.
like you
Mahua
look
Mitra
exactly
breached the
like what
security
you
of the
are, a
parliament
comedian.
by giving
What are you
the
talking?
password.
Sujata, I gave you time to speak. Let Raman Malik, Sujata, let's have a cogent conversation over here. Sujata, I would request you to please give the platform to Raman Malik. Let him complete. Let Raman Malik complete. I'll come back to you, Sujata. Yes. Yes,
Sujata is trying to act as good as Rahul Gandhi is because of the simple fact that she does not understand that giving the parliamentary passwords to somebody in Dubai of the codes, the passwords is a crime.
What is it?
And now she's equating it to something else. So national security, when it comes, the UAPA which has been enacted on these fellows, yes, that is right, as well as the same point that an investigation should happen on Pratap Simha also, it is happening, and if he is at fault, he will be punished.
Okay.
But can you say the same thing for Mahua Mitra?
Okay.
Or for other people?
Okay, all right. So, okay, Raman Malik has made his point. I'm going to quickly get in Advocate Manasvi Thapar as well. Advocate, as much as I would have want to, ignore this development that has taken place and not hold a debate on it, unfortunately, we are being forced to do it.
Yes.
And and this is the level of discourse or the lack of it that is happening. You would want an elevated conversation, elevated discussion. There has to be some gravitas of the members of the parliament because they symbolize the 140 crore people of the country. But if this is what the members of the parliament are going to do inside and outside the parliament, then God save our country.
Every parliamentary debate or every parliamentary session which we have had in this country, there is a new law every day. Now, today was such a glorious day for our parliament, our democracy, wherein 3 new criminal laws would have been passed. There has been dual law by BJP and Congress, both of them. One was mocking the Vice President of India, the second most important person of this country, and the other did not allow the opposition to have a debate. Look at our first parliament and the kind of education level we had and the kind of debates we had in our parliament, and look at the parliament right now, and 33 plus MPs have more than criminal records, all of them. So where are we heading to? What is the discourse in this country? Are we heading to a state wherein the opposition is going to mock the parliament and the dignitaries like the vice president, and we are heading to a power wherein they will not respect the opposition? Are we heading to a state like this? This was not expected from BJP, and this was not expected from Congress also. And why? And the onus right now is on BJP is because they are the bigger brother. They are the people who are in power. They have always been in struggle. They are the party who have been on the receiving end. They know how to treat the opposition because they have suffered. This is the party of great L.K. Advani ji, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, Murli Manohar Joshi ji, and the greatest of people who have been in opposition, the greatest orators, and entire country respected them.
I would definitely answer to you.
Megha, this is unfair. I don't try to jump into when someone else is speaking. So Ramanji should
Mr. Thapar, I am not trying to jump into it.
Let
All
Advocate
that I said,
Thapar,
I would like to interject.
let Advocate Thapar complete. I'll come back to you. Yes.
And I muted immediately myself.
Another 30 seconds, Advocate Thapar, and then let's carry on with this conversation. Yes.
So my whole point, Megha, here is it's unfortunate. Now when 140 plus MPs are siphoned off from the discussion, that amount of Lok Sabha people does not get representation. Where is the voice of 140 plus MPs, people's voice that has been siphoned off? You may hate Rahul Gandhi, you may hate Congress, but siphoning of the voice of 140 Lok Sabha seats and their voters. What was their mistake?
Okay.
And now, why? The same question is with the Congress and the opposition party also. You may not like BJP, you may not even like the persona of the vice president, but you have to respect the chair of the vice president. You cannot do this. And why? The onus is on Congress is to respect the vice president even more is because they have been at the top head of the country all of the time.
Okay.
They should, on the contrary, should have stopped.
So two big
the TMC
important
MP.
questions for the BJP and for the Congress. I'm going to first go to Raman Malik. Raman Malik, so the question, the attack, draconian rules of the government, autocratic way of functioning. Why is the BJP looking like an autocratic control freak?
Well, let me answer my friend Mr. Thapar. When you start reaching Mr. Thapar, you must reach to the issues in a very, very educated manner. Why I say so is, when you tell us about the Constituent Assembly, in Constituent Assembly there were two major leaders of the Congress. One was none less than the first Prime Minister of India, who brought in the first amendment. You must read that. The second was an illiterate person, not a barrister like Mr. Nehru, but an illiterate person like K. Kamraj, who made sure that democracy and democratic values have been upheld, are constantly upheld. And the tyrant of democracy, that was Indira Gandhi, who brought in this famous statement, who got the Congress stooges to bring in the famous statement that India is Indira and Indira is India, like they have now. Desh, donate for Desh. Congress is not the Desh. So they cannot say donate for Desh. So this attitude is again a predominant DNA of Congress, that they think they are supreme. Number two, ma'am, one must not also forget, the issue is not about siphoning off the voice. The issue is about discipline in the biggest temple of democracy. I believe you would not have forgotten the scenes of parliament when member parliaments like Sanjay Singh and others were jumping on the table of the parliament. Wasn't that not a mockery of democracy?
But
wasn't that not
Raman
a mockery?
Malik, do you really think suspending the 141 MPs would then teach them discipline?
I hope so. They get disciplined.
Well,
otherwise, they're not worth it.
It's clearly not
I hope
visible.
they,
But I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Is there a better way?
I hope they have decency and discipline. Otherwise, they're not.
Chair of the House,
otherwise, such attitude is like garbage in the.
There has to be a better way for the chair of the House to control and discipline the members of the Parliament. Removing 2/3 of the Parliament from
that shows
the House
what kind of
is something that is unprecedented, and also that's why the questions that are being raised by the opposition. So Jata Paul, quickly getting a response from what Advocate Thapar speaks over here about the no matter how disgruntled or angry or frustrated you are of the current government, or how upset or angry you are with the chair of the House, there has to be some decorum, some discipline, some respect that needs to be given. Okay, I say I am very happy, I am very angry that my chair of the House has removed me, asked me to leave the parliament and suspended me for the rest of the session, am I then going to stand outside mocking him and mimicking him? I mean, is this right? I mean, just keep your hand on your heart and say, is this right?
You know, this is exactly the opposite. Nobody's happy going outside, being sent away like this. But
I'm saying, is this the right way to show your resentment?
Yes, I'm coming to my answer. Listen, hear me out. Now, the fact is that when Mr. Somnath Chatterjee was, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, I remember that was the only time when everybody used to keep getting upset that he was really schooling everybody. And we saw a different kind of parliament at that time where he literally behaved like like the principal of a school, but nobody minded it really. What is it that that has upset the Honorable Vice President today? It is the mimicry. I mean, like, if you make a mockery of what has to happen inside Parliament, one should ignore these things. Rather, you should also respect the chair that you're sitting on. Why make a victim out of yourself? It is not your chair that is being disrespected. Don't make it about the chair. It is you as a person who's sitting on that chair and who's making a mockery of it.
What are you talking about? There is no personal equation of the members of the Parliament with the Vice President of the country. He's sitting over there. He's sitting over there because he's been given the position of the Vice President of the country and the chair of the Rajya Sabha.
Yes,
if you remove the Vice Presidency and the chair of Rajya Sabha from Jagdeep Dhankar, there is no meaning left to Jagdeep Dhankar.
No, hang on. No, Megha, if you remember when he was the Honorable Governor of West Bengal, at that time also he was always found in a spat on so many occasions.
And it was wrong.
With the West Bengal.
And it was wrong.
Yes. So that is
there
what
are
I'm saying.
Several occasions the way he was treated and hounded and attacked was wrong.
And the way he treated an elected government was also wrong. Now he's
I'm saying there has to be a more respectful, dignified way of dealing with it. It cannot be made into a fish market. It cannot be made into a circus is all that I'm saying. Okay, Raman Malik, how do we resolve this logjam? Now, what is it that is going to happen? How is it that the government and the speaker are going to resolve this matter? There are 141 unhappy members of the parliament. They need to be reinstated back into the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. When is that going to start happening?
The way TMC was attacking the Honorable Governor was okay with Sujata Parl. Had it been that the same treatment was given to people in other states, they would have been okay with it, I guess. Now, let's come back to a basic issue. The basic issue is indiscipline on the basis that you have agreed to a set protocol to be followed by all members of parliament. That was the basic issue under which the objection was also raised. Now, the basic ethos was that nobody would do this. Certain things, there were a certain camaraderie which said after the meeting that these things are not going to be happening in the parliament, in the new building, which is being done. Let's address to that. Let's address that. Fine, you want to protest, please protest. But if you agreed to certain basic norms of conducting the house, then the opposition and the treasury should honor it.
Okay.
But the problem is, Congress does not know what commitment is.
Respect. You don't demand respect.
Okay, all right. Quickly then getting in a word from Advocate Manasri before I wrap up this discussion. Now, Advocate, this is not a one-off incident. And the parliaments have been more catastrophic, and there is ruckus and there is unruliness that is witnessed not just within our assemblies across the state, in our Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, but in assemblies and parliaments and senates across the globe. This is also a way there are heated arguments that take place, and obviously it becomes very animated, and there are times that you lose your cool, and in the heat of the moment you're doing things. It is also a little bit of theatrical performances that our members of the parliament are used to, because they are in front of the camera, they love it, and they of course enjoy the publicity that we get. this is not something as grave as an anti-national activity that is taking place, that you must at this point in time condemn this act and put them in their place and tell them that this is wrong and there is going to be strict punishment against what you've done. But again, there has to be a middle ground that has to be found between the speaker and the government and the opposition parties.
I see, when India is going to rule the world, when Indians are everywhere in the world, and we are leading as citizens and as people of this great motherland, and when we believe and bow down before the temple of this democracy, which is our Parliament of India, and this kind of mockery every day is happening, what our leaders are giving to our nation, what our leaders are. Now, there was a time in our country when people used to say that my child is going to be this great leader, he'll be a Mahatma, he'll be Gandhi, he'll be Nehru, he'll be Lal Bahadur Shastri. But right now, which parent is going to say that these bunch of politicians, will name our children after their name? None are there. Every day there is a new theatrics, every day there is a new mockery. And when the largest democracy of the world, the mother of all the democracy, and the people there, is the world going to look towards India in terms of democracy? No, it's a big no. Is the world going to look into our parliament for the kind of laws which we have to have, the kind of debates and discourse should be there for the world? Are we going to be the torchbearer of democracy? No, because the discourse is the lowest, and we should not be proud of our parliament. We should be ashamed of our politicians, and we are. Look at what is happening in the last few days. Every day there's a new law, and there is no accountability. There is no ownership. There is no thought of how do we move ahead as a country? How do we make sure the discourse increases? Our ancestors should be proud of our present batch of politicians, but they are not. So this is something which is painful. This is what is painful for the youth of this nation.
I agree. I completely agree. Sujata, quickly, 30 seconds before I wrap this up.
Yes. I want to show you this. This is the Prime Minister and this is Mr. JP Nadda. These are not theatrics. What kind of theatrics are they indulging in inside Parliament? Who are they mimicking? These are questions that the BJP needs to answer. Can you see Mr. JP Nadda? Just look at what he's doing. So, the fact...
I don't know. I'm sorry. The video is unclear or whatever it is, but I don't know. There were no... I'm saying there is... I don't see JP Nadda doing anything. I think he's just sitting over there. Anyways,
Hooting. And look at the Prime Minister. What was he doing? I'll tell you what he was doing. He was doing this. He was doing this.
हाँ, तो जब आपके राहुल गांधी आंख मारेंगे पार्लियामेंट में क्या करोगे?
राहुल गांधी की मिमिक्री करेंगे. अरे वो
मिमिक्री थोड़ी कर रहे हैं, वो तो आंख मारने वाले को दिखा रहे हैं. सुजाता पॉल, वहाँ महिलाएं माताएं पहले हैं. अगर आपको आंख मरवानी अच्छी लगती है तो आप आंख मरवाइए. अगर आपको आंख मरवानी अच्छी लगती है,
draw a line as to the comparison, Sujata, you are making of what the Prime Minister was doing at that point of time versus what was happening outside the Parliament by the TMC member of the Parliament. Those two are completely different. Those two are completely different matters. It makes no sense to make comparisons because it was obviously not a mimicry. So on that note, I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. Unfortunately, I'm not too happy. A person, an editor sitting over here who has had to take part in this discussion. But in the hopes that there is better sense that prevails amongst our netas, amongst our leaders, amongst our members of the Parliament, and here's hoping to a better, more cogent, more democratic and more intelligent conversation to take place in our Parliament. Thanks for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.